Jesus says, "Lo, I stand at the door and knock." Jesus is knocking on the door of your heart today.
I grant that the best of the saints may have some earthliness and spiritual things, but I speak of the predominance. It's that which rules in the heart, so that in the performance of spiritual things, his very ends are but earthly, and the frame of his heart is but earthly in spiritual performances. That he passes through many and great difficulties in matters of the earth, and they are very little to him. Though he toils a great deal in matters of the earth, he is never weary because he is in his proper element. Therefore, let there be what difficulties there will be, which to another man would be very great. He makes them as nothing. And though there is much toil and labor, yet he is not weary. Why? Because he is in his own element. The fish is not weary with swimming, but a man is quickly weary. It is because the fish is in his element and the man is not. Observe this. When a man's spirit is in this kind of temper, let him be busied about earthly things, wherein earthly advantage comes in. No difficulties will hinder him, no wind or weather. He will rise in cold mornings and go abroad, and do anything in the world. Oh, what difficulties will men endure in storms at sea, and hazards there, and troubles at land, and sit up late, and rise early, and toil themselves, and complain of no weariness or difficulties. But let them come to spiritual things, to soul business that concerns God and their spiritual estates. Every little difficulty puts them aside and discourages them. Every molehill is a mountain in their way. I would do so and so, but it is so hard and 'tis tedious to rise in the morning, and especially in cold winters, and it is very hard and difficult to read and pray, and so he complains of the difficulty of these things. To watch over the heart is a very difficult thing. To an earthly man, any spiritual thing is difficult, and the difficulties discourage him. In spiritual things, oh, how weary are they! In Malachi 1 verse 13, they cry out, "What a weariness is it!" But they can follow the business of the world from morning to night and never get tired. They can work like a horse and never be out of breath. I wish you would try once to spend one Sabbath exactly and see what a weariness that would be to you. Resolve just one Sabbath to rise early in the morning and to have your thoughts spiritual and heavenly as much as you can. Then get up and pray alone in your closet. Then read and hear and meditate and mark what you hear. And when you go home, think of it and confer about it. And when you come again to attend on the word, and so spend the whole day in hearing, reading, and meditating, and conferencing about good things, calling your family to account, and praying again. See how tiresome this will be to your hearts if they are carnal. However, a spiritual heart will call the Sabbath a delight. And the Sabbath unto such an one is no other than a type and forerunner of that eternal day of rest it shall enjoy in the kingdom of heaven. One that is spiritual counts the Sabbath to be a day of rest, but an earthly man is quickly tired in spiritual things. He will give up his work and not go through it. We read in Nehemiah 4 verse 6 that Nehemiah spoke of the great difficulties that they met with in their work, and yet the work went on, for they had a mind to it. So look how a man's mind is. He will be able to go through with his work. If a man is an earthly-minded man, he will go through with his work. If he takes up worldly business, he will go through with it, for he has a mind to it. He is an earthly-minded man. But let him take on a spiritual work, and he will lay it aside before it is half done. He will seldom bring to perfection any spiritual work. Why? Because he has no mind to it. Whereas if the heart were spiritual and there were any spiritual work undertaken, such a one would go through with it until all was finished.